the Europeans, of course, held hands together and pledged unity, but then left it pretty much to the finance ministers, and in particular, the Greeks, to deal with that blowout situation. Let's return to our guest, who was kind enough to stick with us on the show today. Tom Byrne from Moody's returns to us from Singapore. Tom, what do they need to send? What kind of the EU finance chiefs will be meeting today and tomorrow. What kind of a message do they need to send to the world? There can be no more gobbledygook macro talk about unity and support. There actually has to be a blueprint at some point, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that to a large degree that will depend on what the Greek government will do and how they perform under their adjustment program. But it's really up to the Greek government. Of course, we anticipate that in some form that the EU will provide support, and probably the European Central Bank will continue to provide support to Greek government bonds as well.
But what is the most important thing? Is there a word or a set of words or a sentence that needs to be said that would maybe bring a collective sigh of relief to people who've been watching this situation?
Well, I don't think there's one magic word here that would do it. It probably really depends on a longer process of whether the Greek government can deliver, and they can start to enact these adjustment measures to rein in the budget deficit. Now, that's going to be very difficult because in the past, when governments have had outsized budget deficits and government debt problems, they've been able to grow out through competitiveness and ride on the back of strong global demand, such as what Canada did in the early 90s. The same thing with Sweden. But those options probably are very limited because no one is expecting the global economy to come roaring back at any time soon.
Tom, earlier this morning I pulled out off the web a piece on the Mail Online, and this is from strategists, including Albert Edwards. Not sure if you know who he is, but apparently he's a notable one at Soc Gen, Societe Generale, saying that the European single currency is facing an inevitable breakup. And it's particularly striking, this claims of a euro breakup coming from one of the oldest and largest banks in France, which is a core founder member of the whole European currency concept. And basically boiled down, I mean, it goes on for pages and pages, but boiled down, even if Greece receives a one-off bailout, would not solve the real problem, which is huge differences in competitiveness between the richest and poorest members. That basically the construction of the euro was flawed from the very beginning. Now, how's that for dropping a bomb?
Well, he's just put into words that other people have recognized. We're not quite as dire. There is a strong political commitment within the the eurozone to keep the single currency. Of course, it's a fairly new experiment in terms of history. It was adopted in 1999, but undoubtedly, this analyst is right. Is that countries such as Greece and Portugal, even Spain, will have to become more competitive in order to rein in their fiscal deficits and get their government debt problem under control.
Tom, appreciate your time. Okay, Happy New Year. Get a lot of rest in R&R. We'll have many, many things to talk about in the weeks and months to come. Tom Byrne, Senior Vice President, Regional Credit Officer, Moody's Investor Service in Singapore.